Hi there, welcome to Fermentation Friday. As you can see, I am back in Colorado helping with my mom, and the neighbor here has a garden. And as you know, most people that have a garden, they do those midnight runs around the neighborhood, dropping off all their bounty because it's always so much. And one of the things that we got from the neighbor is these beautiful green beans. I thought this was the perfect opportunity to ferment them, and it also an opportunity to talk to you about fermenting without all of the fancy tools and gadgets that you can buy. So I took to the thrift store and for jars and whatnot, and these kind of Fido style jars that have the lock like this are perfect for fermenting, because even though it's sealing, it allows gases to escape, but these are also great because they really limit the amount of oxygen that can get in there. So these are a perfect kind of jars if you're fermenting. So always when we're fermenting, we want a brine. I like for my green beans a 2% brine. And because there's no scale and I'm not measuring, I'm just going to do my basic 1 teaspoon of my Redmond's real salt. I always go over per 1 cup of filtered water. I've got 2 cups in here, so I'm going to do 2 teaspoons, and I'm going to set this aside for that salt to dissolve while we get our green beans going. So in the bottom of my jar here, I want to do this kind of like a dilly bean thing. So I have a good bunch of dill. I love the smell of dill, so I'm going to put that in there. I've got 3 garlic cloves that I've crushed. I'm going to put these in here. Now, I've had that question, do I have to put the dill, or do I have to put the garlic, or do I have to put this, or do I have to put that? The only thing that you truly need to ferment these green beans is your salt and your water. That's it. Everything else is just added flavor benefit. So feel free to add or not add what you like. So I am going to do a great big pinch of red pepper flakes because I just think that'll be really good for these. I'm also going to do some mustard seeds, and then we can start packing in our green beans. So while I was at the thrift store, I found this tall jar, and I thought, oh, that's going to be perfect for the green beans, and I'm hoping I can get them all in this jar. So 5 to 10 days, it's going to depend on the temperature. Obviously, you want that between 60 and 75 degree temperature. It's going to depend on what you're looking for as well. Obviously, in that 5 days, it's going to still have more of a crunch than if you let it go for that 10 days. But I would advise checking them after like 4 days and seeing how they're doing. So I'm not sure how much brine I'm going to need it, so I just started with 2 cups, and obviously I can make more if I need it. One question I get asked a lot is, what do you do after the fermentation time's up? Well, you put a lid on it. In this case, we'll just leave it like this, and you pop it in the refrigerator. And things that have been lacto-fermented, depending on how you treat them, can last for months and months and months. And I think just looking at this, we're going to have to make some more brine. I was pretty much way off on that. So if you're new here or you're new to fermenting, it's very important that the water that you're using is filtered. You don't want any kind of chlorine or any kind of fluoride, because it will mess up your ferments. And it's really not something you want to have anyway. So next, because I'm not on the boat and I don't have all my fancy equipment, and even if I do have my fancy equipment, one thing that I always make sure that I have when I ferment is some cabbage, because these cabbage leaves are the perfect thing to help keep everything down. And you can already see that is coming up and wanting to float. So I'm going to use a cabbage leaf. Now this cabbage leaf is the perfect barrier because it helps keep everything from coming up. It helps keep things under that brine, and it also helps keep the oxygen down. So now that I have my cabbage in there, I don't have a weight to help keep all of this down, but I do have my cabbage. So what I'm going to do is cut the end of my cabbage off. So I'll kind of trim it so it fits down in there. And then I'm going to put that inside that cabbage leaf and push all of that down. And that is what I'm going to use to keep everything under that brine. Because I'm going to put this in my cool, darkish place for 5 to 7 days. We're going to have beautiful fermented green beans. Thanks for being here this Fermentation Friday, and happy fermenting. See y'all next Friday. Bye.